death toll continues to climb from Hurricane Helene.
Deadliest hurricane, the deadliest storm.
Making it the second deadliest hurricane to hit the U.S. in 50 years.
How have you felt the response has been so far?
It's too late. I mean, it's disgraceful. They keep saying we the people. No, there is no we the people. It's them versus us. So they're not for us.
How could the government do us like this? And where is our government?
We talk a lot about America First on this channel, but what does that look like in practice? Well, to answer that question, let's ask the opposite. What does America Last look like in practice? If you've lived in the United States over the last 4 years, you've witnessed it firsthand. A federal government that hates its own people. It can't work, and the results are horrifying. You're seeing the end stage, terminal results of America Last policies taking place right now horrifically in Appalachia. The states of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee have been ravaged by Hurricane Helene. Currently, there are millions of Americans without power, hundreds of thousands without running water or access to food or medical supplies. This is all taking place in our backyard. We're supposed to be the world leader on these things. We deliver billions of dollars in aid to foreigners in foreign countries, thousands and thousands of miles away from here. Surely our own government can help out our own people, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Joe Biden doesn't even know that the storm happened.
Okay. What are the states in the storm zone? What do they need after what you saw today?
Oh, in the storm zone?
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
And Kamala Harris has announced a pittance, $750 for the people who've seen their entire lives splintered into nothing, if they even survived the horrific mudslides and flooding at all. What's $750 going to buy? The reactions to this betrayal by our own government have been hard to watch.
We're not getting the amount of support that we need.
We haven't seen FEMA, we haven't seen Red Cross, we haven't seen Hearts with Hands, we've seen no agencies come through here. Most people drive through with their cameras out, filming us like we're animals in a zoo, and don't stop.
How could the government do us like this? And how could the whole country just forget about us? Like, it's not enough. What is being done is not enough. I mean, there are entire communities that have been just decimated. Where is our government? I mean, for Kamala, and I am an avid supporter for her to stand in Florida today and make a statement. Where is our government?
And a final insult to the people who have had their lives destroyed, again, if they're even still living today. Our sources on the ground tell us that thousands of people have died in this storm, making it one of the worst natural disasters in the history of this country.
We begin with what's being described as biblical devastation.
And the death toll is still expected to rise.
I think the death count and the fatality count is extremely low compared to what the reality is on the ground. They're reporting about 220. I've talked to nurses and others in hospitals. They're saying it's around 405, and they're even requesting more body bags.
But you wouldn't know it if you followed our federal government. They don't seem at all concerned about any of these people or the devastation. The military hasn't been called up. No one seems to be particularly busy or hurried to get there and restore order, power, or life for these people, or even find the dead bodies. The government is hiding something from you, and what they're hiding is their own incompetence. The government hates its own people. The final proof of that is that our own Department of Homeland Security has announced that they have no more money to help the native-born Americans who are suffering from this natural disaster, but they have billions to resettle criminal aliens and migrants into the interior of the country. This is the definition of America Last, the final insult to the people who have survived here in this country, whose ancestors laid the foundations of this country, fought in our wars, and created this powerful government so that all of the money and treasure could be spent on wars thousands of miles away, building someone else's border, defending some foreign nation we'll never travel to and don't speak the language of. This is definitionally America last, and it's despicable. What America first looks like is putting your countrymen first. Liken your country to a home. If your home was flooding or on fire, your children lived there, your treasure was there, you'd do everything you could to save them and to save it. This is how you should approach your country. Do everything you can to save it, especially in times of need. This is certainly a time of need, which is why we partnered with Congressman Cory and Glenn Beck's charity, Mercury to deliver supplies to people in need in this part of the country. They called and said, we're taking off helicopters from Florida. Can you and your team send supplies? And that's exactly what we did. On the first day, we delivered more than 9,000 pounds of supplies to people inside of Barnesville Elementary, 20 miles north of Asheville, North Carolina. Multiple fire stations that reopened needed the supplies in order to keep operating. Those supplies included baby formula, diapers, water, food, the essentials of life. These helicopter operations were risky given the fact that there's no power and no internet in these areas, but we got them done. The second day, our team decided to return and conduct wellness checks.
What we're going to be looking at is areas that are harder to get to that we can utilize hoist operations if they don't have 100 by 100 clearance. See if we can get in there, do a welfare check, see if we can drop some supplies, or in some cases, get them to Memorial Hospital or to a closer facility so they can get the necessary medical care that they may need.
Broad River Fire Station in Black Mountain, North Carolina was destroyed. So we went there to help out, to assess the storm damage, and to do our best to help these people get their lives back. Cory, who's a veteran of the U.S. military, served in Iraq and Afghanistan, said that these towns look like what a town looks like after the American military gets through firing ordnance into it in a war zone. There's just nothing left. Our team didn't see any government workers there. We saw no FEMA trucks, no one trying to help. None of the people who were on the ground said that they've even heard from the federal government. In fact, the people on the ground say that even that pittance of $750, well, it's not coming.
Everybody in my area that I've talked to, including myself, who applied for the $750 assistance payment from FEMA, has been denied.
On day 3, we returned again to recover bodies from the mountainsides. They're going to be recovering bodies for a very, very long time.
And I talked to Chief Harrison in Pensacola, North Carolina, who watched 2 of his residents go down the river that he was unable to recover the bodies. He said, we're going to actually be recovering bodies throughout the end of the year.
At this point, we've transported 13,000 pounds of food. President Biden decided to do a fly-in, but he put a 30-mile do-not-fly radius around the actual impacted area, hurting anyone's ability to fly in supplies. For hours, we were grounded. Unfortunately, we think that inside of the ground, in the mudslides, there's going to be some really, really dark discoveries in the coming days.
As the floodwaters recede and debris cleared, more tragedy is revealed.
What comes out first are air bubbles from the body, and those float to the surface, and when they break the surface tension, the dog can smell that.
They're searching for human remains after Hurricane Helene.
Out of the 25 years I've been doing this, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Our team has also been partnering to send Starlinks to independent journalist Nick Sotor, who is passing out Starlinks in order to connect emergency services in the area. This is something that is essential in being able to communicate in this destroyed region of the country.
I haven't seen a single FEMA truck. I haven't seen a single FEMA employee. I don't know where these people are, because the video that you're showing right there on the screen, this is us. This is what we were doing. We came here. We reconnected first responders. They're supposed to have like priority when it comes to cell phone connections and such, and even that didn't work.
President Trump and J.D. Vance have both visited the disaster zones multiple times. They're behaving more like the commander-in-chief than, well, our own commander-in-chief. Kamala Harris, while all of this is going on, staged a photo op where she couldn't plug in her phone, and then went on the Call Her Daddy podcast. That's what America Last looks like, ladies and gentlemen. To date, with our partners, Mercury One and Congressman Cory Mills, we've delivered nearly 20,000 pounds of supplies. We can do this because of you. We will not leave our fellow Americans behind. This is what America First looks like. Remember this when you vote in November. America First versus America Last. It's never been more clear.
We'll keep you updated. God bless you. Please keep your prayers for North Carolina. And God bless the United States. Thank you so much.